Welcome to Overtime the Podcast, a show dedicated to all things watches, with a special love for micro brands and their affordable range. I'm your host Praka, and some of you might know me as Kinda Average Watches. Join me as we explore new releases, share tips on building your collection, and put in some overtime with hands-on reviews of the latest watches. Whether you're a bit of a pro or you're just getting into the hobby, this podcast will keep you entertained with great stories from the people in the industry, casual conversations, and guest hosts who bring their own unique perspectives. Let's get started. Welcome to Overtime the Podcast, proudly sponsored by Watchpoint. James, how you going?
I'm very well. And speaking of Watchpoint, I just went to Watchpoint over in Melbourne.
Yeah, that new space looks super cool. I love that video that you did with them, showcasing not just the watch itself, but how cool the building is where they are.
It's funny, I don't think I mentioned in the video, but as I walked in, I was waiting at the elevators to go up to the second floor where Watchpoint is. There was a big group with a walking tour guide, and he was giving the talk about the building and the history of it and the elevators, and I was just getting on the elevator. So it's obviously a bit of a specifically nice building because, it's on the walking tour of Melbourne.
Yeah. No, it's they do have some pretty cool historical buildings, so nice. Very good. How was your long weekend? We have a long weekend,
It's been okay. I get a few extra days off, and I did what I've been doing recently. I've been procrastinating about making the videos, and then time suddenly gets away from me, and then I try and squeeze it all into a couple of days making things for my channel, which tends to work out okay, but it's not really what I plan every week.
Yeah, no. Yeah, when you said you had to do 3 or 4 in a couple of days, I was like, geez. Yeah, good luck with that one. But I think you managed to make it work.
Yeah, it all sort of came together. What about yourself? How's your longer weekend been?
Yeah, good. Managed to, spend some good time with the family. And today, went out for coffee with the missus just before coffee and brunch, which was awesome. Nice. Very rainy day here in Perth.
Very rainy day.
Yeah,
it's just been sprinkling. It feels like English weather to me.
It does, actually. It does. But no,
not pouring rain, but just a constant sprinkle.
Constant sprinkle, yeah. A Scottish summer, as you would say.
It's a nice Scottish summer. But it's also nice because you wear a jumper now. It's cold enough that I can actually put a jumper on. And I know people overseas who live in cold climates think that's terrible, but for us, it's like a novelty.
It's a pleasure. I'd rather it be cool than hot, for sure. Well, before we crack on with today's episode, James, what do you got on your wrist?
Well, I seem to have gotten to this theme of double wristing for every podcast, so I'm just going to continue that for now on. Left wrist, I'll be interested to see if we've got something similar on, because I've got the new Mark III Gin Clear from Second Hour. It's the silvery grey dial. It's their flagship sort of diver. It's just about to be released, and I've actually never seen their first 2 versions beyond photos. So just to get hands on with this one, it's been very, very cool. I've enjoyed it. Have you got? Because we're sort of sharing 2 at the moment. Have you got one with you?
I do have it. I don't have it right in front of me though, unfortunately. I was wearing it all of 2 days ago. I wore it all day, did everything with it, showcased it, and took some nice videos and reels of me doing a barbecue, very Australian quintessential stuff. But today, no, I didn't change just before the episode. But yes, wonderful watches. What's on your other wrist?
Another brand new addition to my collection, the JDM Seiko. I can't even remember the reference. You better with that, but it's the 62 Mass reissue, isn't it? But it's actually the JDM bought from Japan version.
Yep. Yeah,
that's SPB something.
So the SPB 143, so that's the version that I have, which is the international version, which is one of my all-time favorites. I think I spoke about that before. I got that for my 30th birthday, so it's definitely close to my heart. Yours is the SBDC 101, I think. Don't quote me on that.
But, SBDC, that sounds right. And I can see why you like it so much. It's got the most beautiful grey dial. It's interesting with the Second Hour, it's also a grey dial, so it's have these 2 grey dialed divers on wrist today. Yeah, double grey dials. But I also can see that the bracelets, they're better than the older Seiko 5 bracelets, as it should be for a Prospect watch, but it's still not quite up to scratch. It's especially for the price range.
Yeah, I think it's definitely stuck in the yesteryear at that sort of range. But the newer Seiko, that watch that you got on there is about 6 years old now, or 6 or 7 years old. So really, watch, timings, that's huge. And they
It
evolve
is, especially
pretty
at the moment.
quickly. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I find the bracelet, I think I was the first, to I criticize that as well. It's that the clasp and everything else is still very much like old school diver style, with the diver extension and all that and micro adjust, which is not actually on the fly. But I think the newer ones do, the newer Seiko
They do.
divers in the Prospect range do. But yeah, definitely a fantastic watch. So a
Do you
double
have yours on the
bracelet.
original, or have you strapified it or something? Because I know there's quite a few aftermarket strap bracelets
I
for
s-
it.
still wear on the original bracelet, but I swap it and I wear rubber I Tropic. I swap it over in many different things.
Does look good with a
FKM.
tropic.
Yeah, I just rotate through it. But I am looking for a Uncle Seiko bracelet, which is like the original. It's a recreation of the original Seiko diver bracelets that have they're kind of like a Jubilee, but they're not. The Seiko's own version. That's what I'm actually looking on the market for that right now. See if I can pick one up locally before I actually do buy it from Uncle Seiko. Very nice, very nice. Two great stunners. I will
And
go to
what are you rocking?
I have got the the white balance is I got the Cartier tank on my wrist. I've got it on this FKM rubber, which is the Mosaic FKM rubber. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I wanted to wear something a bit fancier today, going out and brunch with the missus, but I also didn't want to wear leather because it's pouring out raining. So this was the option.
There you go.
Yeah, see,
Fair, you thought this thing through.
I tried to.
You tried to. And it does look good on that FKM because it's got that little motley effect to it, which kind of lifts it even further, I think. And it looks good.
A little bit of texture, I think, looks good on that. Oh yeah. Anyway, that's what's on my wrist. So let's get on with today's episode. So we wanted to do this for a little while now, and we love making lists. We love making, theoretical lists in our head. What would I do if I just got $500 to go buy a watch, or if I had $1,000 to go buy a watch, or whatever that theoretical number is. So we figured, let's do one. Let's do a list. We both have $500 US each to spend on a watch, but we get to pick 5 watches. So basically, we're both going to pick 5 watches each. Each watch can only have a maximum budget of $500 US or less. We can go less, but not more. And we also got a bonus pick as well. If we do have time, we'll talk about it, but I'm sure we'll do. And yeah, that's pretty much the premise for the episode. I had a bit of fun with this one. I don't know if you want to go through a strategy of how you went about making your picks.
I've got a clear strategy.
Okay.
Very clear, because this is actually one of my favorite price ranges of watches, because when I first started properly to get into watches, beyond the casual on the side, just liking them, I had this weird understanding, and it was completely wrong, obviously, that I thought there was like really cheap watches, like the Seiko 5s at the time for $100, $150. And then there was the really expensive watches, the Amigas for $5,000 at that time. And for some reason, I think it was just from what I saw in stores, because I wasn't researching, I wasn't watching YouTube videos, I thought there was this big gap in between them. And this sort of $500 US is kind of the sweet spot, a little bit further up, a little bit further down, and there's some really good stuff in there. And because it's a price range that I can afford, every watch on this list is watches that I either own now or have owned, and that I think are the best of those watches, basically. That's my way of looking at this. Well, this is the price range I can afford, so I'm picking watches that I've, owned or still own.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I didn't quite follow the same philosophy as you did.
I'm glad. Makes it more interesting.
In fact, I think of all the picks that I've looked at, one of the watch I've actually owned. In fact, I went with, usually when I do make these lists, I want to max out my budget. So I want to be like $500. I'm pushing even more. I'm trying to get 505, 510 and trying to save a bit of budget. But I went the opposite way. I actually went, $500 is the budget, but what can I get that is really cool and unique and different? But I don't even have to spend that $500. In fact, the cheapest price watch on my list is actually almost half the budget. So a little bit out of left field of why I'm doing this. But I thought I'd try and be a little bit different to what I normally would do. Well, without further ado, James, I'll get you to go first, mate. What is your first pick?
My first pick is actually my top pick. And it was my first pick as well in my own real life when I was collecting, because I was looking for a watch in this higher price range, because I'd now discovered there were better watches in this price range. And I maxed out my budget at the time, and it was 500 Australian dollars at the time. But so it's under the 500 US dollar range, and it's the Seiko Samurai. At the time, it was also the Great White Shark edition, because that's still my favorite. But I think it's just one of the best watches you can get for the money in that range. There's lots of different dial variations, there's special editions, and if you don't happen to like that one, there's always the turtle, which I do like as well, but the Samurai fits better on me, and I like the angular look. Look at my collection, there's a few angular looking watches, but I just think it's a watch you could wear almost everywhere, and it's what I sort of did. And I even then upgraded with a Strapify bracelet at the time, which still gets it under that 500 US dollars, and now you've got a really nice quality bracelet to it as well.
Yeah, that's such an awesome pick. So this is the Great White Shark, which is the Save the Ocean Great White Shark. Yeah, I
love the dial.
Exact same dial, but in the turtle version. So I had the Great White.
I know you tend to go turtle.
Yeah. I think it just wears better on my wrist, but great pick. In fact, you can pick one up right now in the Australian jeweler Shields for 399 Australian dollars right now.
Wow, yeah, it's nuts how nice a watch that is for what it is, and you could literally wear it every day, or you can wear it diving, or you can wear it. Yeah, it's wonderful, and it's a Seiko, and I love them. And switching the strap out on those as well is really cool, because it really does change the character of it. Because I know I used to wear it on that Strapify or that Strap Code bracelet, the Hex Link, I think I had it on.
Yeah,
I also then put on brown leather, I put it on a rubber, and yeah, fantastic watch.
Great pick.
I'd love to see where you go first, especially on where it is on your list as well. Are you going straight out of the gates like I did in top pick, or did you have another strategy?
I don't think I thought that strategically, if I'm being honest. I think this is my top pick, but I went with, I think, okay, I'll match the brands. Okay. So I'll go with my Seiko pick, which is the Seiko SRPL 93, which is the Jean Krantz, which is the new model when I say new, I think it was like last year. I'll drop it in the chat for you if you like.
Yes, please.
So this one here came out sometime last year. Can't remember exactly how long. And this is it's the recreation of a Seiko file that was released in the 1960s. So this has the nickname, the Jean Krantz. So Jean Krantz is a NASA flight director. He's an aerospace engineer, flight director. He directed the Apollo 11. So there's a lot of space, and he wore one of these, of course, which is what the link there is. So he wore it during that Apollo era, which is pretty awesome. It's cool to have, a nod to someone special, especially. Find that space theme and diving theme is always, watches and space and diving is very closely linked. But yeah, he wore it in mission control. And there's actually a photo of him in 1969 during Apollo 11 wearing the Seiko 5 reference, a 611, which is the original reference. And this is the recreation of it. Now, the cool thing is this is actually like classic recreation. So it's not like they've just taken the design and made everything modern and made it all big. It is still 38 mil, 44.7 lug to lug. They made it to that sort of same proportions as what it was. And the bracelet as well, from what I hear, is a better side for a Seiko 5. I know Seiko 5s, have that sort of, the bracelets aren't that great, but I think they look gorgeous. And the black dial, I think it's just stunning. Yeah.
I like the silver.
Oh, wow.
But I've got a bit of a tendency to like silver dials, don't I?
I know, you're wearing a double silver dial there too. No, I do like the silver as well. But I think the black dial's really nice. It has like a nice lacquer effect to the dial. It almost looks like I don't know how to say it, but almost like a coat of lacquer or enamel on top. It has that effect, very deep black. It's gorgeous.
To it.
That's right. Yeah, it's beautiful. And it has that nice box. Hardlex crystal. It's not sapphire, of course. For a Seiko 5, you don't really see that. But yeah, rotating bidirectional bezel, and yeah, it's just vintage stylings that you get, and it is under $500 right now. I think it is, how much is it? 109. It's 440 US dollars. But if you go and try and buy one right now in Australian websites, I think you can pick one up for less than that. I think around 525 Australian dollars. So what's the how quickly can I do my conversions?
350-ish US.
Yeah, $350 US is seems like a bargain for this watch. Yeah. So yeah, that's
especially
my
when it's
first
got
pick.
some history to it. It's got a story to it. It's got some vintage vibes to it. It's got a few things going for it. And well, I've gone for a slightly vintage vibed watch for my second pick as well.
Let's go.
It's not a reissue, but it's from one of my absolute all-time favorite micro brands, Vario. I just can't get enough of their watches there. I've had hands-on with all of them. I've visited him over in Singapore, but my favourite one, the one that just has this, I don't know, a feel to it or this warmth to it, is their trench. And there's a whole bunch of different variations and sizes and colours, but they're black dialed 40mm trench watch. I just love it. It's really well made. It looks really cool. It comes on a great bund strap. It might not be your everyday watch, but if you're building a collection and you want something that covers a lot of bases but is also just a really, really good quality watch, and it also has an enamel dial which has that lovely inky black, which even you were talking about with the Seiko, it's just brilliant. I love it. It's a great watch, and Vario has to be on the list because in this price range, there's not too many that stand out to me as much as Vario does.
Yeah, great pick. The black dial is very. It's funny. It's two watches that we picked, very different watches, but the dial is very similar in that it has that nice, beautiful, glossy sort of enamel kind of dial on it. I'm not actually sure if it is or not, but $388 US dollars. Great price for something that's different. And supporting a great micro brand as well. And there's so many different variants. I didn't realize there's so many.
And so many different. And then you get the pilot variant, which is a sort of on the angle a little bit. There's the medic version. There's lots of options. There's a 37mm size, which actually is also really nice too. I think some people are a little bit scared off about it because it has fixed lugs, but it's funny because I was going to put on like a normal strap or something that they've got which allows you to wear it on a normal strap, but the bund, it suits that design, even if you're not a bund strap fan.
For me, the pick of the bunch is actually not in that main page, but actually the collaboration with RZE. There's the yellow dial that they've done.
It's a titanium case, that one. And the story behind that is pretty cool because they're just mates and they both have watch companies. So they thought, how about we do a watch together since we're both watch owners and mates? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that one. And unfortunately, it's all sold out, the collaboration. But yeah, they have this carbon-infused, lume-infused carbon dial and Damascus dial and the medallion yellow, all beautiful watches. So yeah, if you could pick one of those up in secondary as well, that would be awesome. Something special.
I got to see one of them in person too, and it is very cool. It blends that sort of vintage vibes, but with this sort of very new tech, and it's kind of nice when those things collide sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, great pick. So what was that? roughly $388 US for that. I think it's I don't think you meant to, but yours are under $500 US as well. Well under, which is great.
I was definitely trying to stay under, but I was also not looking at the budget end. I was literally just thinking, what have I bought and owned and loved and stand out in my memory that are in this range?
Nice. All right. Okay, so I will go something. I'll stick with the vintage vibes, and I'm going to go with the Caravelle. So Caravelle is a brand that is an old brand. It's been around for a while, but I think it's one of those dead brands that have been bought by a bigger company that's been revived. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure it's always been owned by Bulova, or the name has been owned by Bulova. So I've just linked you the watch. So this is the Caravelle by Bulova Sea Hunter Diver. This is a recreation of the original Caravelle Sea Hunter, which is a skin diver from the 1960s, I believe. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah, 1960. Yeah, 1960s. I love a good skin diver. I think a lot of my divers that I've had and have in the past are always taking inspiration from skin divers or skin divers. I think this is just great. It's got that nice warm Fotina loom as well, which is I know it can be a bit controversial, but I like it on a vintage styled watch like this. I really like I think it was called the Caravel, and Bulova actually do a diver called the Devil Diver, where they show the water depth in feet and it says 666, which is, I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, it's got the 666 feet. It's got I love the hand set as well. It's kind of like an arrow spear tip on the hour, and the minute it's like more of a broadsword. I just think it's a cool watch, and it's a great option for an entry level diver. I mean, this is you're looking at $300 for this, or
Wow.
400. And
What movement's in that one? I can't see.
It's a Miyota 8 series movement. So Bulova being owned by the Citizen Group, obviously they have access to all of the Citizen movements or Miyota movements as well. So yeah, it's great heritage remade, I guess. And yeah, this was from the 70s actually. Sorry, it's what the diver was made popular. But yeah, the Bulova Sea Hunter Devil Diver the Caravel Sea Hunter Devil Diver was what the original one is called. So yeah, I think it's an awesome pick. And to be honest, this is something that I can see being in my collection in the future. If I can pick one of these up, I definitely would. Yeah, there's not much you can go wrong with it, can you?
No, it's a really nice sort of blend of a little bit of Fotina with the longer minute markers and the slightly thinner bezel, that skinned ivory with the black dial. There's a few brands. There's a reason why lots of brands have a version of this in their lineups. You know, I've got my Christopher Ward Dartmouth, which I think is a little bit in this kind of theme as well, and it's just a nice. You know, I actually tend to lean more towards these than actual traditional divers now, because I think it's just neat, good looking, and yeah, it's just a nice blend of elements.
Yeah. And there's also some really nice colors as well. Obviously, I went for the black, being the classic everyday, you can wear it all the time. But they have blue, they have green, they have black and gold. I mean, the black and gold is like a PVD rose gold case with a black dial, and the blue is like just a blue with a gold tone PVD case. The green and gold, that's very Australian, so it comes with like PVD gold case and bracelet. I know, it's not really everyone's cup of tea, PVD sort of coatings, but I think that's a good looking watch. It reminds me of like a bronze. Yeah, it looks great. Damn,
Very,
I think
very
I've
nice.
convinced myself to buy one of these.
Hey, I think you almost convinced me to get my Samurai back at the start of this episode.
When I said the price, you were like, wait, what?
Yeah. I was thinking, I can afford that. I missed that watch. I've gone very broad with my next choice because it's a second-hand Hamilton Jazzmaster. Now, I know most people, especially when I think Jazzmaster, I think the dress watches from Hamilton, and they're not really the ones I'm talking about. Because the Jazzmaster lineup over the last 15, 20 years has really gone into some really interesting dial types and configurations, and they use it to do some funky stuff. And I tend to sort of think about them, the ones I'm thinking of more as like the Garda style. And the one that I have in my collection is the Traveller 2 GMT. And it's one of my favorite all-time watches. And when I bought it, it maxed this budget out. I was pretty much $500 secondhand. So it is a bit of a large grouping here. So it's a little bit yes, I'm not saying go and get the exact one I'm getting, or that I have, that I've had for 5 years and I love. But I'm just trying to say dive more into the back catalogue, the neo-vintage or the 10-year-old Jazzmasters. Try not to think too much three-hander or two-hander dress watches, and just look to see what other things pop up. Because there's some awesome stuff. They're great quality watches. And because they're not the go-tos, when you think Hamilton, you go field watch, or even if you think Jazzmaster, you go dress watch. If you find these slightly more unique versions, things that perhaps aren't specifically well known, there's some great watches.
Yeah, I mean, there's chronographs in Jazzmaster range, which I'm looking at right now,
And they're really nice. I actually convinced a friend to buy one of those. He's actually, her husband was wanting to buy a nice watch, and the watch that they'd come up with was not a nice watch. So I actually directed him to buy the Jazzmaster chronograph, a nice automatic watch, which funnily enough, I then got a message a couple of months later after he got given that, and he says, the watch keeps stopping on him, and he took it into the watch store and they don't know what's wrong with it. And I said, you need to wind it and shake it, then wear it. It was his first automatic watch.
Yeah, I think that problem happens more often than people would think. But yeah, I mean, look at this. There's an open
Just
heart.
look at the variety and the prices.
I'm looking at an open heart complication automatic Jazzmaster with and chronograph as well from Japan, and it is 500, maybe just a little bit more, $550. That's insane.
It's amazing what
Okay.
you can get. Because I know the brand new one, and I think there's the chronograph, which I got them to get, was off Ashford, and it was 700 or 750 Australian, brand new chronograph, and it was amazing for a Swiss-made automatic chronograph.
It's a good site for Hamilton's, definitely. Yeah.
Have you seen the Jazzmaster Cinema? Google that. Hamilton Jazzmaster Cinema. It's not within this price range. It's a bit off topic, but if you want to see a really just see what they could do with the Jazzmaster range, like they really do some interesting stuff.
That's a cool regulator. I like that.
Mm.
And it makes
just,
sense.
It just shows that they are playing with the designs within this range of their watches.
Cool. You can pick one up for 981 Australian dollars in Chrono 24.
Cinema.
Yep.
And that's a regulator, and that's a limited edition version thing. And if you love your cinema, then they've got a few regulators in their lineup. There's actually another regulator I've had my eye on as well, which is probably in this price range, but hasn't joined my collection at this point.
There you go. Great pick. All right. Well, I've put it in as a Jazzmaster secondhand, and I've just linked it to Chrono 24 so people can just, start looking.
Go for a search.
Exactly. Go for a search. No, great
Go
pick.
down to the Jazzmaster rabbit hole.
That's kind of like a bit of a cheating peek, isn't it? Because you sort of picked a whole range. There's about 1,000 models underneath. But
there's so many good ones. There was no point picking one. You can point out the one that I own, which I love, but there's just the variety of them are just amazing in that price range.
No, I'll give you that. It's not a problem. It's okay. All right. Well, I'll go my next pick. If you're into micro brands, indies, or vintage watches, you need to check out Watchpoint. Located in the heart of Melbourne, Watchpoint is more than a storefront. It's a true hub for the community. Get hands-on with brands like HZ, Formex, Second Hour, Lima, Vario, RZE, and Balzel. Plus, through their partnership with Time Only, you can now explore German indies from Zinn, Hanhart, Damasco, and Müller in person. Not in Melbourne? No worries. Head to watchpoint.com.au to discover new releases, stay informed with editorials, and find your next buying guide. So stop by Shop 202, Level 2, 220 Collins Street in the Manchester Unity Building to find your next timepiece. So I've picked a micro brand, and this micro brand is based out of Taiwan. So this micro brand is Havan Tuvali. Now, I'm going to send you the link so that you
Please,
can...
I don't think I've heard of these ones.
Look, I feel like I've shown them to you before. But anyway, I digress. So the pick that I've gone for is the Heritage Mark II. Now, if you scroll down, you'll see it. So they're going for 632 Australian dollars. So the cool thing about Havan Tuvali is the owner, what he does is he sources NOS cases and NOS movements, NOS meaning new old stock. And he goes and searches new old stock stuff and he tries and buys them in bulk. And then whatever he gets, he will make a watch out of. So he'll use his dial and, the handset, so whatever he can get, he'll make it. So for example, this Heritage Mark II, if you look into it, so he's using NOS cases that were made in the 70s, and he's using vintage German movements and handmade brass dials. So it's super cool. So he literally just walked into a case factory and he was trying to get some gaskets, and then he found this box sitting in the corner, and then they asked him, said, "Oh, whose case is this?" And said, "Oh, yeah, this was these were watch cases that we made for a French brand back in the 70s, but we never sold them because financial reasons or whatever." So eventually he somehow managed to convince them to sell it to him. So now he's got them, and then he's like, well, I'm going to make some watches out of them. And this is exactly what he does. He takes old NOS cases, he makes them. Now, I know this might not be everyone's cup of tea. This is very vintage styling as well, but I love it. I can't.
Oh, I think it
Yeah.
looks cool. And I love the story and the technology and wow.
Yeah. And this is a brand that I have handled in person, and I just think they're unique because it's not like they make watch designs. Everything they make is only a limited run purely because he's just using what's already been made out there, which is NOS cases, old stuff that he's put together, and he's making his own brand out of it. So once you get it, and once that's it. You know, that's about it. There's no new run coming. There's no, I'm going to manufacture it. No, it's just what you see is what you get. I mean, he's had many different models before. On the website, you don't really see everything that he's done. In fact, one of our collectors in local Red Bar, I think he has about one or two of their watches, and just super cool. I don't know what else I can explain more about this brand, but I just realized
this is a rabbit hole brand. I think I'm gonna, after this episode, I'm gonna start looking at these a little bit more, and especially the price range. If these are if they were $10,000 watches, that's a different thing. It'd be interesting, but maybe not. Let's go looking. But if they're in this sort of price range, and if you don't like the ones I do now, just wait for him to do a next one.
Exactly. You just wait for the next drop and then you go for it. And I love the mesh, the stab bracelet, the mesh bracelet as well that comes with it. Makes it a bit more, I don't know, funky when it's not. It's only a 35. I think it's a 36 mil case. But anyway, great brand. I love their story. So that's why they're my pick. But unfortunately, I just realized this, but when I was making the list, there was some stock, but now there isn't any stock. So sorry, you won't be able to get one, but just keep a lookout on their website. I'm sure there'll be more that drops soon enough.
Oh, I'll definitely have to look more into that one. That's a standout for me today. Just the idea of it, even if not that specific model.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's a good, definitely. And that's why we love microbrands.
Yep, and I've picked microbrand for my next watch as well, and this one has to be on this list because it's one of my favorite watches in my collection. It's something that I've spoken about a lot, and it's the Erebus Ascent. And particularly my black helix dial is my favorite, but these are well within this price range or in this price range. It offers so much. The quality is so good. Look is so nice. Wearability is great, and they're in 34, 36, 38, and 42 or something, plus 1,000 different dial variations. I'm surprised that they can actually go to the extent that they have with all the variations, but it's my 39 black helix is it's firmly in my collection.
I had a little chuckle because I overlapped and I also had them in my list, but it's okay. I'll let you have it. You did get it before me, but no.
That's okay. It's okay. I think it's good that we got an overlap. That means we're on the same page for something.
On the same page. Oh, yeah. Look, honestly, there's not much more I can say than what you've already said. I think I mentioned it in the previous episode when we drafted the Erebus as one of the micro brands in the NBA draft. Honestly, the Ascent, especially for me, I think it's one of the perfect watches that you don't need to buy much else when you have the Ascent. It's such an all-rounder garter. It's like, it's a Saab made better, I think, in my opinion. And so many different options. I've had the Purple Helix and the Aventurine, both fantastic watches in the 39, and you have a big wrist, go for the 41. You have a small wrist, go for the 36. They have 39 actually wears really well, by the way. So I mean,
I think it wears best out of all of them. I've handled all of them now, and for my wrist, but it does. So I can see why that was their first size, because it does feel right for it. And it's funny, this one. It's funny. It's a watch that's now making me not want another watch in that sort of genre. And one of those watches was one of my favorite watches of all time, the Grand Seiko White Birch, which is, obviously it's a better watch in all respects, but I don't actually need it anymore because I like my Erebus so much that when I want to reach for a watch that is in that kind of genre, which I do fairly regularly, it's always going to be that one now. Unless Erebus brings out something that's even better, but I don't foresee it. I think this one's going to be staying with me.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you as well. I think the Ascend, I mean, for me, it's their best model to date, and it's their first model. But in saying that, I do look forward to their newer releases and go from there. Oh, it wasn't it? Well, of course, the Origin was the first one.
There's-
Thanks. It was the first one that I had. So sorry, I
It was,
stand
it
corrected.
was, it's definitely, I think, as far as I think Jody said this as well, and Stephen, it's definitely their workhorse in their lineup. It's really driving their sales, and it's certainly their most popular model. And it's I think it's also given them the opportunity now to diversify into other things as well, because having that success from that one model lets the business continue and grow and go into different dials and different cases and different technologies, and it's fantastic to see.
Great pick. All right. Well, I will go my fourth pick, which is the Lima Chrono Sprinter in the Black Brigade. Sent you the link. Again, this is definitely not the higher end of that budget. It's sort of mid-range, that budget. This is a Indonesian micro brand, Lima, very design-forward brand, I would say. I had hands-on with this watch, not this particular black dial variant. I had looked at a different colorway when I was in Watchpoint in Melbourne. And
I was
prior
just thinking,
to this,
I got to see some of them there.
yeah, so prior to this, I had seen the watches before, and I just thought, man, that's great value. So these are $290 US. It's a chronograph that, so we have spoken about this watch before on the podcast about, I'm going to say about 2 years ago, almost. It's been that long. It's what I would call the shape is a squircle. So it's not quite a circle, not quite a circle, not square. It's a squircle case, but it is a, VK6 Mecha Quartz chronograph, 37 mil diameter, but it's, the shape is a little bit odd. So it's quite compact at 45 mil lug to lug and quite thin as well because of the VK64 movement. I think 11 mil with the crystal. I just think it's cool. And I like the steel bezel as well. I reckon it goes
The steel bezel
very well. The other variants are also nice. They've got like a white dial with the blues. They have collaboration ones as well. But this is my my go-to. I like a Mecha Quartz chronograph. All the fun of chronographs without the servicing costs of automatic chronographs. But yeah, just a fun watch. I think very different as well. And there's
I
so
like
many
how they've done
different
the
ones.
24-hour dial on there. It's like a triangle almost.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's just something a little different. And it's the one complication on these Mecha Quartzes that people tend to complain about. So they've kind of taken it and made it interesting and made it a visually pleasing. So I think I quite like that idea.
Yes, yeah. So the designer Herman, so I think he's a graphic designer, and he's done design, is design forward basically. Product design is his thing. So that's why I think it looks really cool. All his watches, it's almost like, I don't know, it's out of the ordinary, right? Like looking at this watch, like who would think of making the squircle shape?
A squircle. That should have been the brand name.
Squircle. Anyway, there are many different variants color-wise. A lot of them are sold out. The black one isn't, and there's a few other ones. French Breguet, Blueprint Breguet, and there's a collaboration one with a brand called Elders, which is a motorcycle modding company in Indonesia, Bali and Jakarta.
So there's a few of them over there. I think Indonesia is sort of known for modding motorcycles a bit.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's my fourth pick.
I like it. I do like that black dial with that silver bezel. I think watches that have silver bezels and black dials do look good, especially if there's a little bit of a slight vintage look to it and things. I think it's, it really pops. And I'm slightly cheating again for my last pick because I'm doing, again, a broad thing, but I'm going to be very specific as well. So it's a broad but yet very specific choice. It's vintage Rado. I've owned so much vintage watches and I love them, but I've come to the realization after now owning my Golden Horse, and it's like a 1950s, 1960s Golden Horse. So that is my specific pick. But I could also then just attach vintage Rado in general, because I think for the price range of them, because I think I paid $300 Australian for mine, I think they're the best vintage you can buy. They're affordable and they're unique and they're different and they're fun, and the sheer variety of them that were pumped out in the 50s and 60s and 70s. There's something, but I love my Golden Horse. They even did a reissue of mine, so it was obviously a model which has some attention drawn to it. So yeah, it's the vintage watch that is stuck in my collection, and I now keep looking at other vintage Rado because it's like, oh, there's some funky stuff and it's affordable and it's cool and I like it.
Rado is definitely a brand that I don't think gets the same recognition in the Western world that it does in other parts of the world. I know Rado's huge in India and I think Mexico. Don't quote me on this. If any of our Mexican fans could check me on that, fact check me, please do. But yeah, the Golden Horse is really cool. And I can't believe you got it for what 300 Aussie dollars?
I think it was $300. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, you got to steal because I'm looking at Chrono 24 and it's not quite that price, but I do yeah, and I love the little Rado logo with that rotates around.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it doesn't feel like a 1960s watch either. It feels almost sort of modern when you're actually wearing it. It's 5mm, but it wears bigger than that because it has a real dive presence to it. But then you look at the engravings on the back of it and just how the dial's set up. And yeah, it feels like it was probably a watch that was pretty far in the future for its time, which a lot of their designs are. They do some funky stuff. I don't mind their new watches, like the new Captain Cook is nice and things. The green dial on the Captain Cook is lovely, but vintage. And because they're not super, super popular, it's not like people are going for vintage Omegas or stuff. It's because it's not quite as popular. You can just go searching and find some great stuff.
It's interesting that they did, I think you might have just mentioned it, but yeah, they did do a reissue of it.
Which I got to see in person, which was actually very nice. I almost considered it, but then I thought, well, I've got the original. I don't need two of them, although they are different. But
same, but different. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great pick. I'll have to write that down, and then I'll have to find out exactly what reference number yours was so that I can chuck that in there. But a great pick. Okay. I'll round it out, with mine. Again, this is a little bit like the Havantavali. It was in stock when I was looking at them, but they're not in stock anymore. So again, sorry, I apologize, but I think they will come online. It's not like Havantavali where, once it's done kind of thing. So this is Prevail watches out of the US. They make field watches, really tough looking field watches. But they do it in their own sort of way, own sort of design. Fixed lugs, bold case shape. I don't know what you call it, but again, a very odd case shape. They don't look like all your regular field watches. They don't look like your Hamiltons or your Vertex or whatever. All these different field watches, they just look different. They have just a simple brushed stainless steel case, sapphire crystal, of course, 200-meter water resistance, all that jazz. But the crystal's recessed, so you can, it's a proper, you're not going to bang it up if you hit something. It's all within the case. Loom looks good. And it's a pretty 42 mil case, 47.5 lug to lug. So this one's a bit of a bit of a beefy boy. But my understanding is because it's of the case shape, it actually could wear a bit smaller as well. But yeah, I just like the look of it. I just think something different, and it's another option for a field watch. And yeah, I thought I would add that in the.
It's very cool. I think I like the story behind this brand as well. I think I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he's ex-military, but he wants to make sort of a fieldy military watches, futuristic, but does not want to lean into the military at all. Like he's not leaning on his veteran heritage or anything. He's just going, I'm making futuristic style fieldy type watches, and he sort of specifically wants the watches to speak for themselves. He's not using any backstory. He's just making some cool looking watches.
Yeah, and it kind of shows, doesn't it, in the design? It's very much called the Onward Future Field Watch. So it's kind of trying to imagine what a field watch will be in the future, which is interesting. And I think it kind of covers that basis.
Yeah, super legible but funky and.
Yeah, I could imagine someone, one of those sci-fi shows that you watch, like set in the future in the year 2500 or something, wearing one of these. Don't you reckon?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll still be wearing analog watches.
Well, this is a quartz movement in there as well. So I must say it's a Ronda quartz movement, but it is $297. So definitely on the budget end of this. And unfortunately it's sold out, but subscribe to their emails and see when they're going to be doing another drop soon.
Shows that it is popular, that it is something that is resonating with people because they are selling out. And I know I've seen quite a few people talk about this brand, and yeah, it's cool. That orangey yellow dial was especially I really like. I even almost thought to buy one, but I think it was sold out when I went to look at myself.
Yeah, some really cool stuff. Yeah. Awesome. So that's my 5 picks, and that's your 5 picks. I was going to do a honorable mention, which
bonus
would
round?
have been the would have been the Erebus Ascent for me. So I won't do mine, but I know
No,
you've got
you
one.
stay with that. I've definitely got one, and it's the new generation San Martin watches, the SN0144, the SN0150. There's a range of them. Again, it's a bit of a broad things, but I've owned a few of them now. And the old watches, which they still make and still generalized versions that San Martin make, are very good and they're really well made and they live up to pretty much the hype which everybody talks about. But these new ones, wow, there is no better watch for the money that I've ever experienced. You still obviously have to like the look of them and things, but from a quality perspective, bracelet technology, movement used, they're using the 9000 Myotas, dials, guilloche, mother of pearls, and lacquers, and there's nothing that stands close to it from a quality look and feel for the price, and they're around 500 Australian dollars, give or take, depending on the model.
Crazy. What model number is that? So I'm just going to have a look at them quickly.
So the two that I've owned that I specifically like are the SN0144, which was their first of their sort of new generation of watches.
Yep.
And then the one that I've been wearing most lately is the SN010. And I even got to have hands on with another of their new versions, which was more of a dive watch, which is also incredibly lovely.
It is nice to see them doing that sort of more original design.
And they've really, really gone into it, and interesting dials, and they've really put money into the bracelets as well, which makes it feel quite something special. They're not off-the-shelf bracelets by any means. They've got not just good on-the-fly technology things, but they're comfortable and they're different to other things, and they're incorporating it as quite of a whole design too, because the bracelets are designed for that watch. It really feels like they've sat down and gone, okay, from scratch, let's make a watch.
Yep. Yeah, no, fantastic pick. I think I've said this before, but San Martin's bracelets, is really good. They do such a good job for the price you pay. It's actually crazy how well they're made, and it's nice to see that they're moving all this mother of pearl, guilloche, all these different techniques as well. And yeah, I mean, I think it's always hard for a brand like San Martin to peel away from their perceived, homage of the brand, but I think if you can get over that, and if you look at these new models and take it for what it is, you're actually getting such a good value watch, and with original designs as well. So yeah, great pick, good honourable mention.
Yeah, just whenever everybody gets hands-on with these, they are a little bit wowed, especially these new ones. The other ones are good still. They're fine. They're great. I've owned lots of them, but it's not like they've just gotten a little bit better. It's 10 times better. And they just keep smashing out new models and dials and designs and new bracelets as well, which is not normal. Normally you sort of build a new bracelet, then you use it for as long as you can before you then think about another one. But this one, there's like a new bracelet coming out every other week.
Just keep milking it. Yeah, no, great, great little honourable mention. For purposes of show notes, and I'll still write my honourable mention as the Erebus Ascent because it was definitely on my list. I kind of knew that one of us will pick it, so I'm glad we did. Definitely great pick for under 500 USD. But yeah, that's what I'll do is I haven't quite done that already, but I would love to actually in the show notes I will write out the prices of each of them and I'll write the total price as well of that whole collection. I think it'll be good for the listeners to understand what you can get for your money, which I think is important to get value. There's always great value to be seen, especially as a lot of brands move into the higher range. So it's great to see what we can get value for money for sure. Cool. All right. Well, that's pretty much the end of the episode. Anything interesting that you'd like to share, James?
Well, the one thing that jumps to mind, because it came relatively recently for me, was traveling for the purpose of seeing watches, which I'm calling watch tourism. I know I've talked about this a bit with you, and I may have even mentioned it on previous episodes, but, I'm definitely now traveling specifically to go see watches, which perhaps is a little bit insane in normal circumstances. But it's so nice to incorporate it amongst travel. Like if you're somewhere and there's brands that are local to that area, or there's places like in Melbourne where there are places like Watch Point that feature so many watches that you just don't get to see elsewhere. And Melbourne is a nice tourist destination anyway, so it's something you can add to your trip. It's an interest you can take with you, and rather than just have to do touristy highlights, you can also do some watch tourism.
Yeah, great. Well said. And for, what I will do is link one of your said watch tourism videos that you've been in Bangkok and Melbourne and a few other places. So listeners, you can check it out. Very nice. My something interesting is a TV show that I watched. So I watched quite recently, Australian dramedy. Is that what you'd call it? It's like a dark comedy is what you'd call it. It's like a cop drama. The first season is set in Tassie. Second season is Tasmania. The second season is set in Darwin, which is in North Australia. So this is called Deadlock. I don't know if you've seen it before.
No, I've not heard of this one.
It's a bit different. It's all I'll say. It's a bit out there. It follows a cop and cops who's a detective. It's her and her wife who live in Tasmania. They're eccentric. They're a bit strange. They're funny.
And they're from Tasmania.
Yeah. Hey,
sorry for anybody listening to that.
I didn't say that.
I love Tasmania. It's a beautiful place.
Tasmania is beautiful. And you've got, just funny show. And the latest season is, I mean, look, it's definitely not a PG rated show. It is R18, MA15, whatever you want to call it. It's full of swearing, full of all the themes, everything that you want. It's in there.
All
so
the
it's
good
very
bits.
adult. It's just everything. But it's also very, especially the second season, there's a lot of very Australianisms all over it, sprinkled around. It's set in Darwin, in Croc country. You can. So for those listening outside of Australia, it's a show to watch. May not be the most accurate representation of everywhere, but it's definitely a bit of fun, and it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, if that means anything. So
really,
yeah. So
what service are you able to watch it on? Is it on?
So I watched it on
Amazon
Prime. So Deadlock is on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure where it is in the rest of the world, but yes, definitely something to check out. Something a bit different. Something a bit funny. I think it's only 8 episodes per season, so it's not. Yeah, it's not a heap of episodes. You can sort of binge it pretty quickly, and there's 2 seasons already. So check it out. I'm not sure if there will be a 3rd season, but funny show nonetheless. So yeah,
awesome. I'll definitely have to check it out.
Please do. So all right, well, I think that's it. Great little wrap up episode. I like that. If you like more of these kind of episodes, let us know. Shoot me a DM, shoot James a DM, and that's the usual. Give us a thumbs up, share, whatever it is. Really helps us to get the word out there, so that can come up on their feeds or algorithms or whatever you want to call it. So really appreciate that if you could.
Send us a letter if you want.
Yeah, sure. There's also email and letter. No, maybe not letter. Definitely email if you
Pigeon. Send it via pigeon.
Via croc. Anyway, all right. Well,
okay. It's been great chatting to you, Praka.
Oh, well, yeah, you too. And if there's nothing else, we'll leave it right there. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Overtime the Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find us on our Instagram at Overtime the Podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, or flick me an email on overtimethepod@gmail.com. I appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you would like the podcast to cover in the future, please hit us up. Until next time.